Easter. What is Easter? How did Easter came about? Where was it originated, and how was it done or celebrated? We do celebrate Easter. We do have a lot of fun during Easter season. But the question is, what is it all about, and how did it start? We all were born and we came met it. But the question is, where did it originate from? According to Ezekiel chapter 8 verse 14, the Bible revealed the fact that the prophet Ezekiel was taken by the Spirit into the temple. And whilst he was in the temple, he saw women crying, weeping, and mourning for Tammuz. Tammuz was a Babylonian goddess who was worshipped for his resurrection. It is believed that Tammuz died, and after 3 days, Tammuz resurrected again. And so during the time, the springtime, they do celebrate his resurrection. They do celebrate Tammuz. And during the fall time, where the leaves of trees are fading off, the winter, the leaves are drying, trees are withering, and then they will do celebrate and mourn, cry and weep for the death of Tammuz. And when it comes to the springtime, they have these celebrations and parties where they paint trees, they color eggs, they have drawings on eggs, they color the eggs, they paint the eggs, and then they'll have all these celebrations because the egg was a symbol of the perpetuating of life. And so the new life is around us, the new life is around them. So they will color these eggs, because out of the egg we have the bears being hatched, we have the chicks being hatched out and whatever. And so the egg was actually a symbol of life. And so they will celebrate, they will paint these ones, these eggs, and then they'll have these parties and celebrations all together. Unfortunately, the church adopted the pagan practice of the worship of Tammuz and the resurrection of Tammuz and incorporated it into the church, calling it Easter, and having an Easter Sunday, taking the name of the Greek goddess Astarte, who is supposed to be the consort of Adonis, and who is the Greek equivalent of Tammuz. And we have incorporated it into the church, and there are churches that have Easter celebrations with these eggs, hands, and they'll paint the eggs and give them to children, and for them to have these parties and enjoyment. Now, the early church, when these pagans were having this worship, the early church saw how these guys were celebrating and how they were enjoying and having fun together. And because they didn't want to have their members left alone, they didn't want the early church didn't want to be left out, so they decided to adapt this pagan worship. And then they said that, okay, we are going to have these celebrations, we are going to have this coloring and painting and have these parties and celebration, but we are going to declare this day and say it is for the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so instead of they celebrating the resurrection of Tammuz, they've decided that, okay, we are going to do this, but ours is going to be the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And this is actually how this Easter issue and this Easter thing actually came about. And then today you and I met it, and then we are celebrating it also. I actually don't know what God thinks about this, and I don't know what this actually will be in the sight of God. But the Bible said when the prophet Ezekiel saw these people mourning for Tammuz, it was an abomination, it was a detestable thing in the sight of the Lord for them worshiping this Tammuz. And so if this is actually a detestable thing in the sight of God, and the early church have incorporated it, and the early church have adapted it into service, of which today you and I are also victims of, then I wonder how God is actually going to feel about this issue. And so it is important that sometimes we do see the face of God. It's important that we come to the knowledge of certain celebrations we do have, and try to go into much details to find out how this things are actually one of the reasons why the church today we have a lot of problems is because believers are too lazy to study, they're too lazy to find out things, they're too lazy to find time with God, spend time with God, for God to reveal certain things, to study and try to make other discoveries and research about certain things that we have today, how the things were, where they started from, how they originated from, which will actually help us to have effective living and effective connection and work with the Lord. And so I just want to admonish each and everyone that we got to have this time to spend time with the Lord. Try to spend time in studying, try to discover certain things, the hidden things of the kingdom of God, the hidden things of certain celebrations we have today, and to see as whether they are in line with God or they are not in line with God, and then if possible to come to an end of them.
Jesus, you're the wind beneath my wings. Sweet Jesus, you're my melody and harmony. Sweet Jesus, you're the eyes that I see through.